She made her decision about you in 4.3 seconds, before you opened your mouth, before you made your move, before you even knew the game had started. And the brutal truth? You never had a chance, because you didn't know you were being tested. Machiavelli wrote something 500 years ago that changes everything about seduction. He said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Think about that. She is not judging who you are. She is judging what you appear to be. And most men lose because they appear desperate before they even say hello. This is not a video about pickup lines. This is not about what to say or how to dress. This is about the invisible game, the psychological warfare happening beneath every interaction between man and woman. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Once you understand the rules, you will never play blind again. Here is what nobody tells you. Seduction is not about attraction. It is about power. It is about controlling perception. It is about making her feel specific emotions at specific times without her realizing you are the one creating them. Machiavelli understood this. Power is not what you have. Power is what people believe you have. And in seduction, the man who controls belief controls everything. Most men approach women like beggars. They give everything away in the first 30 seconds. Their interest, their intentions, their desperation. They think honesty builds trust. But what it actually does is kill mystery. And without mystery, there is no tension. Without tension, there is no attraction. You have already lost before the game begins. Think about the last time you tried to impress a woman. You probably talked too much, explained yourself too quickly, showed all your cards at once. You thought you were being open. She thought you were being weak. Because strength does not explain itself. Strength simply exists. And she feels it without you saying a word. Machiavelli said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." In seduction, you must be both. The fox who sees her tests before she sets them. The lion who holds frame when she tries to break it. Most men are neither. They are sheep walking into a game designed for predators. Here is the first rule of the game. Never reveal your full hand. When you meet her, she is scanning you, reading your body language, measuring your confidence, testing your reactions, and every piece of information you give her is a weapon she can use against you later. The less you reveal, the more power you keep. You have seen this happen. Two men approach the same woman. The first one is friendly, talkative, eager to please. He tells her about his job, his hobbies, his dreams. He thinks he is building connection. The second man is different. He is calm. His words are few. He asks more than he answers. He smiles, but does not explain why. And which one does she think about later? Not the one who gave everything away. The one who kept her guessing. This is not manipulation. This is strategy. Machiavelli taught that in any competition, the man who understands human nature wins. And human nature is simple. We want what we cannot easily have. We chase what moves away from us. We lose interest in what chases us. This is not opinion. This is pattern. This is how the game works, whether you like it or not. So let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why the woman you wanted most gave you nothing, while the woman you barely noticed gave you everything? It is because your energy was different. When you wanted her, you became the beggar. When you did not care, you became the prize. And she felt that shift even if you did not say it out loud. Here is what is about to happen in this video. I am going to show you 7 Machiavellian principles that control female desire. Not theories, not guesses. Principles that have worked for 500 years because they are based on human psychology, on power dynamics, on the dark truth that seduction is war, and only the strategic survive. These are not tricks you memorize. These are frameworks you embody. And when you embody them, you stop chasing women. You stop wondering why she lost interest. You stop feeling confused by her behavior. Because you finally see the game clearly. You finally understand the rules, and once you understand, you start winning. But I need to warn you, what you are about to learn will change how you see every woman you meet. You will notice things you never saw before. Tests you failed without knowing, signals you missed, opportunities you destroyed, and you cannot go back to being blind. Once you see the matrix, you see it everywhere. If you are still here, it means you are ready. Ready to stop playing like everyone else. Ready to stop losing to men who understand what you do not. Ready to learn the dark psychology of seduction from the master of power himself. Machiavelli did not write about love. He wrote about control. And control is what wins. Subscribe now, because what comes next will make you dangerous. The first principle starts in 10 seconds. And after you hear it, you will never approach a woman the same way again. Let's begin. Principle number 1. Appear weak when you are strong. Strong when you are weak. Machiavelli said, "Never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception." And in seduction, deception is not lying. Deception is strategic appearance. It is showing her one thing while keeping your true power hidden. Because the moment she knows your full strength, she stops being curious. The moment she knows you are weak, she stops being interested. Most men get this backwards. When they feel confident, they show off. When they feel nervous, they overcompensate. Both destroy attraction. The confident man brags about his success, his achievements, his value. He thinks this impresses her. But what she hears is insecurity. A truly powerful man does not need to announce his power. She feels it in his silence. And when a man feels weak, he tries to hide it by talking more, by explaining himself, by justifying his choices, by seeking her approval through words. But every word he speaks to prove himself actually proves the opposite. That he needs her validation, that he fears her judgment, that he is not the prize he is pretending to be. Here is how you apply this. When you are in a position of strength, when you know you have options, when you are genuinely confident, you say less. You let her wonder. You let her fill the gaps. You do not list your accomplishments. You hint at them through stories. You do not tell her you are busy. She sees it through your unavailability. You do not claim to be desired. She senses it through your lack of desperation. But when you are in a weaker position, when you are actually interested in her, when you want something from the interaction, you must appear as if you have nothing to lose. You must seem indifferent even when you are invested. Not through fake disinterest, through genuine outcome independence, through the knowledge that if she walks away, your life continues exactly as before. Because it does. Think about poker. The best players do not celebrate when they have strong cards. They do not panic when they have weak cards. They maintain the same expression, the same energy, the same rhythm, and this makes them unpredictable, dangerous, impossible to read. You must become this in seduction. The man whose emotions do not leak through his behavior. The man who keeps her guessing at every turn. Machiavelli understood that perception creates reality. If she perceives you as high value, you are high value to her. If she perceives you as desperate, You are desperate to her. And perception is controlled not by what you are, but by what you reveal. So reveal strategically. Reveal selectively. Reveal only what serves your position in the game. Have you ever noticed how women test you right when things seem to be going well? She suddenly goes cold. She takes hours to reply. She mentions another man. She disagrees with something you said. This is not random. This is a test. She is checking if your confidence was real or performed. And most men fail this test immediately. They chase. They ask what is wrong. They try to fix whatever they think they broke. And in doing so, they reveal their weakness, their need, their fear of losing her. But the man who understands this principle does not react. He mirrors her energy. She goes cold. He goes colder. She takes hours to reply. He takes longer. She mentions another man. He mentions his busy schedule without explaining what he is busy with. He does not punish her. He does not play games out of ego. He simply maintains his frame. And by maintaining his frame, he passes the test she did not even tell him she was giving. This is the invisible war. And you are fighting it every single moment you interact with her. Every text, every conversation, every glance. She is measuring you, calculating your value, testing your stability. And the man who appears unshaken by her tests wins her respect. And respect is the foundation attraction is built upon. Principle number 2, make her compete for what others want. Machiavelli wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see but few can feel." What he meant is simple. People believe what they see more than what they experience. And what women see is other women wanting you. That is the most powerful attraction trigger that exists. Not your words, not your looks, not even your personality. Her perception of your desirability to other women. This is called pre-selection. And it is the reason why single men struggle while men in relationships get approached. Why the man surrounded by female friends gets more interest than the man who arrives alone. Why the bartender who flirts with everyone gets phone numbers, while the nice guy who focuses on one woman gets ignored. Because she is not judging you in isolation. She is judging you in comparison to what other women have already validated. Think about this. When you walk into a room alone, you are invisible. But when you walk into that same room with a beautiful woman laughing at your jokes, suddenly other women notice you. You did not change. Your value did not increase, but their perception of your value did. Because they saw proof that someone else has already chosen you. And if she chose you, maybe you are worth choosing. This is human nature. We want what is scarce. We want what is competed for. We want what others desire. A restaurant with no customers looks suspicious. A restaurant with a line outside looks exclusive. Same food, different perception. And perception controls behavior. She does not want the man nobody wants. She wants the man everyone wants but few can have. So how do you use this without being fake? You do not need to hire models to follow you around. You simply need to have women in your life. Female friends, female co-workers, women you talk to casually without agenda. And when she sees you interact with these women comfortably, naturally, without trying to impress them, something happens in her mind. She thinks, he is comfortable around women. He is not desperate. He has options. Other women enjoy his company. Maybe I should pay attention. Machiavelli said, "It is double pleasure to deceive the deceiver." And the beautiful trick here is this. You are not actually deceiving her. You are simply allowing her to draw conclusions from what she observes. You are not telling her you have options. She is seeing it. And what she sees, she believes. What you tell her, she questions. But here is the critical mistake most men make. They try to make her jealous on purpose. They mention other women to create competition. They post pictures with female friends to trigger her. And this backfires every single time. Why? Because it is obvious. Because it reeks of try-hard energy. Because she can feel your intention behind it. And the moment she feels you are trying to manipulate her emotions, you lose all power. The correct application is natural abundance. You genuinely have women in your life. You genuinely enjoy their company. You genuinely do not need her specifically because you have social proof that you are already chosen. This is not performance. This is reality. And reality is always more powerful than acting. When she asks who you were talking to, you answer casually without details. When she sees a text from another woman, you do not hide it or explain it. When she senses other women like you do not deny it or confirm it. You simply exist in that abundance without making it a weapon. And that quiet confidence, that lack of defense, that absence of explanation, it drives her curiosity wild. Because now she is not just attracted to you, she is competing. Competing against women she has never met. Competing against possibilities she has imagined. Competing against a threat she cannot see but deeply feels. And competition creates urgency. Urgency creates action. And action is what you want from her. Not words, not promises, action. We are 2 principles deep, and already you are seeing patterns you have missed your entire life. But this is just the beginning. Because the next principles go darker. They go into territory most men are too afraid to explore. Territory where Machiavelli lived, where power players operate, where seduction becomes psychological chess. Stay with me, because what comes next separates boys from men. Principle number 3. Create dependency through unpredictable reward. Machiavelli understood something most men never learn. He said, "Benefits should be granted little by little, so that they may be better enjoyed." This is the psychology of addiction. This is how you create emotional dependency without force, without pressure, without even trying. You simply give and take in patterns she cannot predict. Think about a slot machine. Why do people sit for hours pulling a lever? Not because they always win, but because they sometimes win, and they never know when. This randomness creates obsession, creates hope, creates the belief that the next pull might be the big one. And this same mechanism works in human relationships. When your attention is predictable, it becomes boring. When your affection is constant, it loses value. But when she never knows which version of you she will get, she becomes addicted to finding out. Most men make one fatal error. They think consistency builds trust. And yes, consistency in your character matters. But consistency in your emotional availability kills attraction. When you are always responsive, always available, always giving attention, she stops valuing it. Because she knows it will always be there. She knows you are not going anywhere. She knows she has you completely. But when you are warm one day and distant the next, affectionate one moment and focused on your mission the next, present one week and unavailable the next, something happens in her brain. She cannot categorize you. She cannot predict you. She cannot control you. And what she cannot control, she obsesses over. Here is how this looks in practice. You have an amazing conversation with her. Deep connection. Real chemistry. She feels seen. She feels special. Then you disappear for 3 days. No explanation. No warning. Just silence. When you return, you are friendly but brief. She asks where you went. You answer vaguely. You do not apologize. You do not justify. You simply moved through your life and she was not the center of it. This creates a wound she needs to heal. Not a big wound, a small one, just enough to make her wonder. Did I do something wrong? Is he losing interest? Was I not as special as I thought? And these questions loop in her mind. And while they loop, you are living, building, working, unbothered. And that contrast between her obsession and your indifference creates magnetic pull. Machiavelli said, "Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great." When she is willing to chase you, the difficulties you create only make her chase harder. But you must be careful. This is not cruelty. This is not ignoring her to play games. This is genuine focus on your purpose that naturally makes you unavailable. And when you return, you give her quality attention. Not quantity. Quality. Focused. Present. Then you leave again. The pattern she learns is this. When he is here, it is amazing. When he is gone, I miss him. But I never know when he is coming back. So when he does come back, I better appreciate it. I better show up fully. I better not take it for granted. This is how you train behavior without saying a word. This is how you become the reward she works to keep. Have you ever noticed how women lose interest right after they feel they have won you? After you confess your feelings? After you commit too early? After you make yourself completely available? It is not because they are cruel. It is because the game ended. The chase stopped. The uncertainty vanished. And with it, the attraction died. But the man who keeps the game alive, who never fully surrenders, who remains slightly out of reach even when he is close, he keeps her engaged forever. Because she never fully wins. She never fully loses. She exists in the space between hope and fear. And that space is where desire lives. Principle number 4. Never show your full emotional investment. Machiavelli warned, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command." And in seduction, commanding does not mean telling her what to do. It means controlling the emotional frame. It means being the one who cares less. Not because you do not care, but because your emotional stability does not depend on her response. This is the hardest principle for men to accept, because we are taught that showing emotion is strength, that vulnerability builds connection, that honesty creates intimacy, and all of that is true, but only after attraction exists, only after she has invested, only after you have established yourself as the prize. Show vulnerability too early, and you are not sensitive. You are weak. Listen carefully. There is a difference between being emotionally available and being emotionally desperate. Available means she can access your emotions when you choose to share them. Desperate means your emotions leak into every interaction whether you want them to or not. She sees your nervousness. She feels your neediness. She senses your fear of losing her. And all of these emotions repel her at a biological level. Why? Because female attraction is rooted in security. She wants to know that you can handle pressure, that you do not break under stress, that your emotions are controlled, not controlling you. When you show too much investment too early, you signal that your emotional state depends on her, that she has power over you, that you need her to feel whole. And need is the opposite of attraction. Machiavelli said, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." What he meant is that adaptability matters more than consistency. And in seduction, you must adapt your emotional expression based on where she is in her investment. When she is barely interested, you are indifferent. When she is chasing, you are warmer. When she pulls back, you pull back further. You mirror and amplify. You never show more emotion than she has earned. Think about the man who texts her good morning every day before she has shown real interest. The man who writes paragraphs when she writes sentences. The man who makes future plans after one date. The man who tells her she is special after 1 week. What is he really saying? I am already invested. I already care. I already need you. And she feels the weight of that need, and it suffocates her. But the man who matches her investment, who gives exactly what he receives, who does not rush ahead emotionally, he creates balance, he creates safety, he creates space for her to invest without feeling pressured, because she knows he is not going to collapse if she pulls away. He is not going to panic if she tests him. He is not going to beg if she loses interest. He will simply move on. And that possibility, that he might actually walk away, keeps her engaged. This does not mean playing cold. This means being warm when it is appropriate and distant when it is strategic. This means showing emotion when she has earned it and withholding it when she has not. This means understanding that every emotional revelation is a card you play. And once you play it, you cannot take it back. Here is the test. Can you go 3 days without contacting her and feel completely fine? Can you see her talking to another man and maintain your composure? Can you have her cancel plans and not take it personally? If the answer is no, you are too invested. If the answer is yes, you have power. Machiavelli taught that the appearance of not caring is sometimes more powerful than genuine not caring. Because if she thinks you do not care at all, she might walk away. But if she thinks you care just enough to stay, but not enough to chase, she stays in the game. She keeps trying. She keeps investing, hoping that one day she will break through your frame and reach your heart. And maybe one day she will. But only after she has proven herself worthy. Only after she has matched your investment. Only after she has shown through action, not words, that she values you. Until then, you hold your cards close. You show glimpses of emotion, but never the full picture. You let her wonder what you are really feeling, and that wondering keeps her coming back. We are 4 principles in, and if you are applying these, you are already seeing changes. Women responding differently, interactions lasting longer, interest increasing instead of fading. But the next 3 principles are where most men fail, because they require something most men do not have: patience, discipline, and the willingness to walk away from what does not serve you. Stay focused, because what comes next is the difference between playing the game and mastering it. Principle number 5. Control the frame, or she will control you. Machiavelli wrote, "Whoever is the cause of another becoming powerful is ruined himself." In Seduction, this translates perfectly. The moment you let her control the frame, the moment you let her set the rules, the moment you operate in her reality instead of yours, you have given away all your power. And power, once surrendered, is almost impossible to take back. What is frame? Frame is the lens through which reality is interpreted. It is who sets the tone, who decides what is acceptable, who determines what behavior means. In every interaction between man and woman, there is a silent battle for frame control. And whoever wins that battle wins the relationship. Most men do not even know this battle exists. They walk into her frame without realizing it. And they lose before they even begin. Here is how it happens. She says something that could be interpreted 2 ways: a comment, a joke, a question. And in that moment, you have a choice. You can interpret it through her frame, becoming defensive, explaining yourself, seeking her approval. Or you can interpret it through your frame, remaining calm, redirecting the conversation, maintaining your reality. The man who controls frame does not react to her tests. He absorbs them and redirects. She says, "You probably say that to every girl." Weak frame response? "No, I do not. I really mean it with you. You are different. You just entered her frame. You just accepted that you need to prove yourself. You just gave her the power to judge you." Strong frame response? Smile. "You are fun when you are jealous." Now she is in your frame. She is the one reacting. She is the one who must now prove she is not jealous. Machiavelli understood that perception of power is power. If she believes you are the authority in the interaction, you are. If she believes she is the prize, and you are lucky to have her attention, she is. And this belief is established not through what you say, but through how you respond to her tests. Every woman tests. Every single one. Not because she is difficult, because she needs to know if your frame is real or performed. Think about this. You make plans with her. She cancels last minute. Most men respond with understanding. "No problem. We can reschedule." They think this shows maturity. But what it actually shows is that her time is more valuable than yours. That you will accept whatever she gives. That you have no standards. Weak frame? Strong frame? Cool. I will make other plans then. No anger, no explanation. Just a clear statement that your time has value and cannot be wasted. And watch what happens. She will often try to reschedule immediately. She will explain why she canceled. She will try to regain your attention. Why? Because you just showed her that you operate in a reality where your time matters, where you are not desperate, where she is not doing you a favor by spending time with you. You are doing each other a favor. Equal value, strong frame. Here is the truth most men cannot accept. Nice guys finish last, not because women hate kindness, but because nice guys give up their frame to avoid conflict. They agree when they want to disagree. They laugh when they do not find something funny. They accept disrespect to keep the peace. And women sense this weakness immediately. They sense that his niceness is not strength. It is fear. Fear of losing her. Fear of being alone. Fear of standing in his own power. But the man with strong frame is kind from abundance, not fear. He is respectful because he chooses to be, not because he is afraid of her reaction. He walks away from disrespect not out of anger, but out of standards. And this creates attraction because she knows she cannot manipulate him. She knows he will not bend to keep her. She knows he has options. And knowing this makes him valuable. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." In seduction, this means it is better to be respected than liked, if you cannot be both. Because a woman can like you and feel nothing. But a woman who respects you will feel attraction. Respect comes from frame, from boundaries, from the willingness to walk away when those boundaries are crossed. Have you ever seen a woman chase a man who treats her poorly while ignoring the man who worships her? It is not because she loves pain. It is because the first man has frame and the second man does not. The first man operates in his reality. He has standards. He enforces consequences. The second man operates in her reality. He has no standards. He accepts anything to keep her. And subconsciously, she knows which man is stronger. You must become the man who holds frame without effort, without force, without needing to prove it. When she tests, you smile. When she challenges, you redirect. When she disrespects, you leave. Not from ego, not from anger, but from the simple knowledge that your reality does not allow for behavior beneath your standards. And when you live this way, you stop chasing, you start choosing, and she feels the difference. Principle number 6. Make her fear losing you more than she desires, keeping you. Machiavelli wrote something dark but true. Men ought either to be indulged or utterly destroyed. For if you merely offend them, they take vengeance. In relationships, this means half commitment destroys you. Either you are all in or all out. Either she fears losing you or she takes you for granted. There is no middle ground. Most men live in this middle ground and wonder why she never values them. Fear is a more powerful motivator than desire. Desire makes her want you. Fear makes her act. Desire is passive. Fear is active. When she desires you, she thinks about you. When she fears losing you, she pursues you. And the shift from one to the other happens when you demonstrate something most men never demonstrate. The ability to walk away, not the threat of walking away. Not the manipulation of pretending you will leave. The genuine ability to walk away if she does not meet your standards. This is not a bluff. This is a boundary. And women test boundaries constantly to see if they are real. She will push. She will test. She will cross lines to see if you actually enforce what you claim to value. And the moment you let something slide, she knows your boundary was performance. And performance has no power. Think about the man who says he will not tolerate disrespect, but accepts it when it happens. The man who says he needs consistency, but stays when she is inconsistent. The man who says he has options, but acts like he has none. She sees through all of it. And every empty boundary you set teaches her that you will not actually leave. That you need her more than she needs you. That your words mean nothing. But the man who enforces his boundaries without discussion, without drama, without explanation, he creates fear. Not fear of abuse, not fear of punishment, fear of loss, fear that he actually means what he says, fear that if she crosses this line again, he will disappear. And that fear keeps her behavior in check more powerfully than any argument ever could. Machiavelli understood that consequences must be swift and certain. When she disrespects you, you do not lecture. You withdraw. When she takes you for granted, you do not complain. You become unavailable. When she tests your boundaries, you do not negotiate. You enforce. And enforcement is always quiet, always calm, always final. Here is the mistake. Men think that showing they will leave means threatening to leave. If you keep doing this, I am gone. That is weak. That is negotiation. That is giving her a chance to manipulate you into staying. Strong frame is different. She crosses the boundary. You leave. No announcement. No warning. No drama. Just absence. And absence is the loudest statement you can make. When you do this once, really do it, she learns something about you she has never experienced with other men. You are serious. Your words match your actions. Your boundaries are real. And if she wants access to you, she must respect them. This is not control. This is standards. And standards create attraction because they signal value. Think about this. Why do women stay in relationships with men who have other options? Because they fear losing what other women want. Why do women chase men who are unavailable? Because they fear missing the opportunity. Why do women respect men who walk away? Because they fear that he actually will not come back. Fear drives action, and action is what builds relationships. But you must be willing to lose her. This is the hardest part. If you are bluffing, if you are using this as a tactic but hoping she will stop you, she will sense it, and the tactic will backfire. You must genuinely be willing to walk away and build a new life without her. You must genuinely believe that you will find someone better if she does not meet your standards. You must genuinely know that being alone is better than being disrespected. Machiavelli said, "Never was anything great achieved without danger." Walking away is dangerous. You might lose her. She might not chase. She might move on. And that risk terrifies most men into staying in situations that destroy them. But the man who accepts this risk, who walks anyway, who chooses his dignity over his desire, he becomes powerful. And power is what attracts. We are 6 principles deep. And by now, you are seeing the pattern. Seduction is not about what you do to her. It is about who you become in relation to her. It is about holding frame, creating dependency, controlling investment, establishing fear. All of this happens beneath the surface, beneath the words, beneath the dates and the texts and the compliments. This is the invisible game, and you are finally learning to play it. One more principle remains, the darkest one, the one Machiavelli himself would recognize. Stay with me. Principle number 7. End it at the peak. Never let her leave first. Machiavelli wrote the most brutal truth about power. Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved. And in seduction, the ultimate power move is this. You end things when they are at their best, when she is most invested, when she believes everything is perfect, because the man who leaves at the peak lives forever in her mind. The man who waits to be left is forgotten the moment she walks away. This is the principle no one teaches. Everyone talks about making her fall for you. No one talks about what happens after. And what happens after determines whether you are remembered as the one who got away or the one she outgrew. Most men cling. They hold on past the expiration date. They watch the relationship decay and still refuse to leave. They get broken up with and wonder why they never saw it coming. They saw it. They just could not accept it. Here is what you must understand. Every relationship has a peak, a moment when attraction is highest, when investment is deepest, when emotions are strongest. And after that peak, things either plateau or decline. They never go higher than that moment. Never. And the man who understands this knows that leaving at the peak creates permanent impact. She will spend years wondering why, years trying to understand, years comparing every man to you. Think about your own life. Which relationships do you think about most? The ones where she left you at the peak, when you thought everything was perfect, not the ones that slowly died, not the ones where you both knew it was over, the ones that ended suddenly, unexpectedly, when you still wanted more. Those are the ones that haunt you. Those are the ones you never fully get over. And this is the power you hold when you are willing to walk away first. Machiavelli said, "Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions." What he meant is this: people are addicted to immediate comfort. They choose short-term pleasure over long-term power. And in relationships, this means they stay too long. They wait for things to get bad before they leave. They need a reason, a betrayal, a fight, a clear signal that it is over. But the strategic man does not wait for reasons. He creates the ending on his terms, not when she is pulling away, not when attraction is dying, not when he feels her losing interest, but when she is most attached, most invested, most convinced he is hers. And then he disappears, not with cruelty, not with anger, but with calm finality. And he never explains why in a way that gives her closure. Here is how this looks. Everything is going well. She is texting you daily, making plans, introducing you to friends, talking about the future. She feels secure. She feels like she has won you. And in that moment of security, you pull back. Slowly at first, becoming less available, less responsive, less emotionally present. And when she asks what changed, you give her nothing concrete. I have been thinking. I need space. This does not feel right anymore. She will panic. She will ask for reasons. She will try to fix whatever she thinks she broke. She will promise to change, to be better, to give you whatever you need. And this is where most men cave. They see her pain and they feel guilty. They explain themselves. They give her closure. They try to make the ending easier. And in doing so, they destroy the impact. But the man who understands Machiavellian power does not cave. He remains firm. He does not give detailed reasons. He does not allow negotiation. He does not give her a path back. He simply exits, clean, final, without looking back. And this creates a wound in her that never fully heals, because she never understood what went wrong. She never got closure. She never got to fix it. She just lost you. And loss without explanation is the most painful kind. Machiavelli taught that it is better to act and regret than to hesitate and be destroyed. In relationships, hesitation is staying past the peak, hoping things will get better, believing love conquers all, waiting for her to change. And while you wait, she loses respect. She loses attraction. She starts looking elsewhere. And when she finally leaves, you are destroyed. Your confidence shattered, your value questioned, your time wasted. But the man who acts at the peak, who walks away when things are still good, he protects his value. He protects his time. He protects his mental state. And more importantly, he becomes the standard every other man is measured against. She will date others, but they will not measure up because you left at the height. You remain frozen in her mind as the best, the one who got away, the one she could not keep. Now, here is the dark truth. This principle is not about cruelty. It is about self-preservation. Because the reality is, most relationships do not last. Most women will eventually leave or lose interest. And when that happens, you have two choices. Let her leave first and be forgotten, or leave first and be remembered. The man who leaves first controls the narrative, controls the memory, controls the power dynamic forever. Think about the women you dated who ended it with you. Do you remember them fondly? Do you think about them often? Probably not, because they chose to leave. They had the power. They moved on. And you were left behind. Now think about the ones you ended it with, the ones who wanted to stay, the ones who begged for another chance. You remember them differently. You remember them as the ones who valued you, who wanted you, who lost you. This is the psychology. The person who leaves is always remembered as more valuable than the person who was left. Always. And if you want to be valued, if you want to be the one she cannot forget, you must be willing to leave first, not out of fear, not out of insecurity, but out of strategy, out of self-respect, out of the knowledge that your time is limited and you will not waste it on something past its peak. Machiavelli's final lesson was this: where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great. If you are willing to walk away, if you are truly willing to end things when they no longer serve you, then no woman can control you. No relationship can trap you. No fear can keep you in a situation beneath your standards. You become free, and freedom is the ultimate form of power. We have covered 7 Machiavellian principles, 7 rules that govern seduction at the deepest level. Not tactics, not tricks, but psychological frameworks that have worked for 500 years because they are based on human nature, on power, on the dark reality that relationships are competition, and only the strategic win. Let me be clear about something. These principles are not for everyone. They require discipline. They require patience. They require the ability to control your emotions when everything inside you wants to react. They require you to walk away from what feels good in the moment for what serves you in the long term. Most men cannot do this. Most men will read this and still chase, still cling, still give away their power to the first woman who shows them attention. But you are not most men. If you made it this far, if you absorb these principles, if you are willing to apply them, you are different. You are the 1%, the man who sees the game clearly, who understands the rules, who plays with strategy instead of emotion, and that makes you dangerous. Dangerous to women who are used to controlling men. Dangerous to your competition who does not know these principles exist. Machiavelli lived in a world of war, politics, betrayal, and he survived by understanding one thing. Power goes to those who know how to take it and keep it. Seduction is no different. It is war by other means. And the man who treats it like war, who studies it like war, who prepares for it like war, is the man who wins. Here is your assignment. Go back and listen to these 7 principles again. Write them down. Study them. Apply them one at a time until they become natural. Start with controlling your emotional investment. Then work on frame control. Then create unpredictability. Layer these principles until they are not tactics you perform, but traits you embody. Because when they become part of who you are, you stop trying to seduce women. You simply exist as the type of man they cannot resist. And remember this, the game never ends. Even when you master these principles, there will be women who test you, who challenge you, who try to break your frame. That is their nature. That is the game. But now you know the rules. Now you see the tests before they happen. Now you respond with strategy instead of emotion. And that makes all the difference. Machiavelli's last words of advice. The one who adapts his policy to the times prospers, and likewise the one whose policy clashes with the demands of the times does not. The times have changed. Women have changed. Dating has changed. But human psychology has not. Power dynamics have not. And these 7 principles have not. They worked 500 years ago. They work today. They will work 500 years from now. So adapt these principles to your situation, to your life, to the women you meet. Do not apply them rigidly. Apply them intelligently. Because Machiavelli was not teaching rules to memorize. He was teaching how to think, how to analyze, how to see beneath the surface. And once you can see beneath the surface, you cannot be fooled. You cannot be manipulated. You cannot be controlled. This is the end of the lesson. But it is the beginning of your transformation. Subscribe if you want more uncomfortable truths, more dark psychology, more principles that give you power in a game designed to keep you powerless. Share this with a man who needs to hear it. And leave a comment telling me which principle hit you hardest, which one you have been getting wrong, which one you are going to apply first. The shadow is not the absence of light, it is the truth behind the illusion, and you just stepped into it. Welcome to the Shadow Mind, where we do not teach you what feels good, we teach you what works. Now go apply it, and watch your entire reality shift.